Hi guys, it's Kelly from Georgia STEM, and today we're going to talk about badges. And I wanted to show you just a little tutorial very quickly of some things I'm going to do in a presentation. Hopefully, if you came to the Upstate Technology Conference and you are viewing this, maybe you just needed a little bit more in-depth tutorial, or you're going back and reviewing what we did. And if you didn't come to the conference, you missed a great conference, but maybe you're viewing this in lieu of getting to come this year. So anyway you're joining us, welcome. And I wanted to go through some of the things that I did in my session this time. So we talked about a lot about badges, and I wanted to show a few ways that we talked about in the session on how to create badges and then how to issue badges. So one of the things that we talked about is creating badges is as simple as making some kind of PowerPoint or some kind of slide presentation, putting some lettering or font, on the images that you choose, and then deciding how you want to issue those. So I'm going to show you just one simple way to do it. There's millions of different ways. There's all kinds of different open badging software that you can use. You can almost get as complicated as you want to, but we are going to do it for sake of simplicity. One of the easiest ways I've found. So this is just a Google slide presentation, and all I have done is search for a common image of karate belts. And so this, as you can see, is just an image of a karate belt, and I did that by going to insert and doing image, and then I actually used the search feature, so I didn't even have to download anything, and I just typed in karate belt, and I found different karate belts, and you could pick which one you like and just insert it. So I did that. And then I used my fonts to put some text boxes on here, and I went ahead and labeled it Math and Commerce Primary. There is a program that's very popular among elementary schools called Kick at Math or Kicking at Math. To be honest with you, I'm a high school teacher and I do a lot of STEM stuff, but I do not use this program personally. The reason that I use it as an example is because my son was in first grade this year, and he was enamored with this thing and loved earning all the different karate belts, and I was always in the dark as to which belt he was on. He was always talking about it, and I thought, how great would it be if they had a way for us as parents to pull it up so that they could brag about their belts and etc. So this is a great way to make your badging system that you use in your classroom. Maybe you have little index cards you move, or maybe you have clothespins with the kids' names on there. However you do it, this is a way for you to publicize that information, to make the kids have more ownership with it, to make it more transparent to parents, and to create a little bit more of competition within your students. So you just create these images. I decided to pick 4 different colors. Here they are. I added the images. Now I want to save these as images, and that's going to be important in just a minute. You can keep adding to this. You could do blue, purple, red, whatever you decide to do, and you can add to it. But the way to save it as an image, there's 2 different ways that are pretty easy. So you can say File, you can say Download As, and download it as either a JPEG or a PNG, or even simpler, if you go to the snipping tool, which you just type in snipping, and it pops up, and you just say New, and you just draw a box around whatever you want to snip. So we're going to snip this, and we can just save this as an image. So I'm going to save this as black belt. Whoops. Okay, and you can do that for each image that create that you want to make a badge out of. Now, this is where, to me, Google has gone above and beyond on some of their tools that they have created. If you've probably never heard of Google Keep. If you have, great, you're ahead of the game in a lot of ways. I just found Google Keep this past spring. You just go to keep.google.com, and it is a way for you to create little post-it notes. You can also just type text in here. So let's say that you have, one of the greatest ones to do is like your standards. So in Georgia, like let's say I had SEV 1A, and I was to type the standard here, which is about, let's just say it's about fossil fuels, fossil fuel consumption or something. Now, these things, usually if you're like us, the standards are really long, and you have to put them in your lesson plans. You have to drag them into tons of things. And so I'm just going to add this, and now anytime I need to use this, I'll show you how you can magically use that in a second. Now, one of the things I already did was I added my belts in a few minutes ago, and you can see some other badges I have down here. But I'm going to show you how to do that. So there's a little image here of a mountain. That's an image. So you click here, And then you can see my karate badges, and I'm going to go ahead and add this one again so that you can see how you do it. And I'm just going to add the image. Okay, and then I'm just going to say done. Now you can type a title and a note and all that stuff if you want to, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to click done, and I'll show you why in just a second. You can see how this one has no caption and this one does, and I'll show you why that's important in just a second. So now, if I go over to badges, so a simple way to issue badges. This will help you if you are a teacher to not lose your mind trying to keep 4,500 documents. Make yourself one Google document. Make the rights to it open so that people can view it with a URL. Go ahead and create a tiny URL for it if you want to, or a QR code, and then you just add to this one document, and that way students can, click on the document on your web page. You can put it in Google Classroom. You can put a QR code in your classroom. You can send it out on Remind. You can put a sticker in their agenda, however you want to do it. And it's going to be this one document that you're going to work off all year. So this is going to say like Cassidy Classroom badges, and the reason that this is linked is this is the badge inventory that I keep. So like if I was going to add badges and I wanted parents to know what they mean, they could click and they can open up my badge inventory and they can see what badges their student has earned and what the badges mean. Now, I like to use personally growth percentages. Now, why do I like to do that? Well, because I'm more focused as a teacher on how much growth the student is making, much more than I am on a finite number. So it means more to me that a student has moved from a 73 to a 90 than if they've moved from a 90 to a 91, if that makes sense, or from an 89 to a 90. Okay, yeah, they all have A's, but that big growth, I want to reward that because based on work from lots of research being done right now in neuroplasticity, we know that the growth potential in the brain is infinite, and we want to continue to push kids, not to push them to a certain exceeding point or a certain numeric value, and then to just say, okay, now you've reached that, you're good. Like, you don't have to do anything else. And you probably have seen that a lot. Oh, we're not going to worry about these kids because they have A's, or we're not going to worry about these kids because they're meeting the standard. And we have to kind of get away from that. So I like to use growth percentages. So you'll see on my badges, it usually will say this person has the growth percentage of 1 to 5%. And this one has 6 to 8. And so it gives the growth percentages. The only time you're going to run into problems with that is when you have a child that is extremely high achieving and it's hard for them to get any more growth percentages. So you always have a fail safe, and you say, okay, yeah, if they are a really, really high achieving student and they don't have anywhere else to go, let's say they're always making hundreds, you always give the opportunity for that top belt to be a perfect score. You still want to encourage that growth, but you also want to give that high achieving student a chance to earn that black belt or earn that perfect score. So there's that. All right, so that kind of gives you some badge inventory for parents. Okay, so how do you issue these badges? Now, this is why I was telling you Google Keep is amazing a few minutes ago. The other thing I want to mention real quick right here are these avatars. It's really good when you talk about digital citizenship and following ITSE's rules and FERPA and SIPA and all those different laws that we have to follow for student privacy, to be very cautious about using images of the actual student. High school students love Bitmoji, so you can use Bitmoji and use their avatar. There's also avatar creators online that are completely free. You can use cartoonify.de, which is a great one to create free avatars. Put their avatar there. They love creating the avatar. It keeps them a little more private. It's not a picture of them personally, but it also gives them ownership of their section on the spreadsheet. And then also, never use a student's first and last name. You always use their first initial and last name, or their first name and their last initial. This is just another level of safeguarding that you can do to help protect students. So here we have C. Brown and the little avatar, and let's say that C. Brown has earned a yellow belt and I want to award that. So what I'm going to do is go up to Tools. I'm going to open the Keep Notepad. This is why I wanted to put everything into Keep. It's going to open up all of my little great things over here. So let me show you, before we even go any further, I want to show you something. I'm refreshing it because I just added something to it. Remember earlier when I typed in some words? This is kind of cool. So let's say that you're making lesson plans and you're tired of typing your standards in 45 times. Watch this. You just drag this over and it puts it right there. Isn't that amazing? I know, it's pretty cool. And I want to undo that, so I just Control Z it out. But that, I wanted to show you that because that is like a huge time saver. So if you will type all of your like things that you use constantly into Google Keep and you can just drag them over, it makes your life a gazillion times easier. When you're doing like student progress reports, this is another trick I use. If you will make yourself a Google document with just blanks in it and you just use Google Keep and you want to do like parent comments, you just type all your comments in advance, you can just drag them in and they'll automatically populate and it will save you a ton of time. Very proficient way to do it. Okay, so we want to do an image those times. So I'm going to show you the two different ways to do it. So this is the one I just put in there that has no caption. I just drag it over and it issues the badge to C. Brown. Okay. Now, if I want to obviously change this, I can wrap the text so that it won't, take up space. I can move it around, whatever I want to do. Okay. But let me show you what happens. Let's say that A. Drake, I wanted to award the orange belt. You see how this one says orange belt? When I drag it over, that caption is going to stay. Okay, so if you want to put information about your belts with the belts themselves or with the badges themselves, instead of making a badge inventory, you can do that. And then you don't have to even have that badge inventory. Me personally, I like the badge inventory. So if a parent just doesn't know what orange belt means, I train my kids or train my parents at the beginning to just click up here and it'll go to the badge inventory. That way I only have to do it once. But this is a way you can do it with the captions if you wanted to, and you just drag it over. And it's very quick and very easy. Okay. Now that was pretty fast, but I'm here if you need me. You can always contact me through georgiastem.com, georgiastem.com. You can also find me on Twitter at jklcassidy or on Facebook at facebook.com/georgiastem, and I will be glad to help you in any way I can. I really truly believe this takes a village and that teaching is very much a calling. So if you need anything, you can reach out to me, big or small, and I'll answer any questions you have, and I'd love to talk to you about badges. I'll see you online, if not before. Thanks for watching.